Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live, or if this is your first time joining, welcome. My name is Laken, and I go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to answer any questions that you have about goals, planning, life, whatever's on your mind that you feel like you need some extra support with. We hang out every week to chat about it. Let's kick it off with our first question, which is, what are you drinking? If you are here live, let us know in the chat. Say hello and let us know what you're sipping on while we're hanging out today. And if you're part of the replay fam, I would love for you to share in the comments what you are drinking and or doing. If you're multitasking while you're watching the replay, I always try to make sure to read all of the questions. You can listen along. You don't have to stare at my face for a full hour if you are catching the replay, or even if you're watching live. I know some of you multitask while you're watching live. I have some tea. I switched into my holiday mugs. If you saw my Instagram stories from Sunday, I was debating whether I was going to pull out the holiday stuff. Let me know also in the chat or in the comments if you have decorated for the holidays yet. I debated. I decided to do half and half. I'm still going to end up doing it before Thanksgiving, but I decided to go ahead and put up, we don't have that many decorations, to be honest. We decluttered a lot when we moved, so we don't have that many decoration things. So I put up the few that we have of those, and then I pulled out the mugs, the candles. So I am moving into the holiday mugs also. And then this upcoming weekend, I think I'm going to put up the tree. It's a tiny little tree, so it shouldn't take me all that long. I saw somewhere, and then I'll get it. I see all the drinks popping in. I saw somewhere that said, first off, as with anything, like, you do you. You want to put them up? Awesome. You want to wait till after Thanksgiving? Awesome. I think everybody can do what they want to do when they want to do it. But I saw somewhere that, like, by having your tree up early and having those extra lights in your house can really make a difference during after daylight savings when it gets dark earlier. And that by putting up your tree and having those extra lights, like, that could be really helpful. So you know what? I think while I understand the people who are November 1st and I understand the people who are the day after Thanksgiving, I kind of like the idea that it's the day after daylight savings. Like the Sunday after daylight savings, that feels good to me. So it's usually the first weekend in November. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But all right, let's see what we've got here. Oh my gosh, Aki, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this properly. A Swedish Christmas soda, even though a lot of people should say you should wait till November. Yeah, same thing. It's like eggnog. Drink it now. We've got iced coffee, water, sweet tea, water. Amanda being my guinea pig, even though I know your name at this point, Amanda. But if you have a YouTube channel or a Facebook name that is not the name that you like to go by, please include your name in the comment. I would appreciate that. Amy, you've already decorated your room. Okay. I'm glad it's not just me. Been putting it up for the last week, taking an eternity. Yeah, I know. I just like hit my cup. I saw Sam from Happily Housewife. I know that's not her name anymore, but that's what I know her as. She talks about this every year, how she puts up her stuff. Now she's got a ton of decor that she's accumulated over the years in little bits at a time, partially so that she's not doing it all in one fell swoop. She starts in November. It is a lot more relaxing and enjoyable for her to do it that way. And when we are in a place where we've got a lot more, it took me literally an hour on Sunday to put up what we have. I like that idea. We've got lots of water. I also have my water handy. Melanie, we're decorating this weekend, but most of my friends have already decorated. I'm from Canada and we've already had our Thanksgiving. Yeah, so you already had Thanksgiving. So the after Thanksgiving thing totally applies. If you've seen the calendars, I like the calendars that show Christmas goes from November 1st to the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And then Thanksgiving is 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then it's back to Christmas. Christmas is a season where Thanksgiving is just a little interrupting holiday that we celebrate. I keep fall and Halloween up until the weekend after Thanksgiving. Yeah, I also have never decorated for fall, Jennifer. So that might be part of it too. If I was somebody who decorated for fall, then I could see transitioning. I think also it really depends on where you live. I saw that it snowed in Chicago this week. So next year, if it snows, I'm putting up the Christmas tree. If it feels like fall, maybe we'll keep fall. If it feels like winter, we're moving to Christmas. That's kind of how I feel about it. Monica, planning on moving our Peloton into your office and getting ready for the tree this weekend. I love that for you. So much fun. Yvonne, we won't decorate till after Thanksgiving, but hope to help your mom get her place decorated this weekend. That sounds like a good plan. I like that idea after changing clocks, right, Katie? I feel like that, especially the tree or lights. like just adding more light into your space when it gets so dark so early. I think that it just makes sense. I like it. I like it. I put up twinkly lights around my window, which will stay up from daylight savings to daylight savings to help with lights. Jamie, I like that. I think that especially something neutral like that, right, that you can keep up. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food? Amy jumping in with the questions. Mashed potatoes, but that's my favorite Thanksgiving food pretty much all the time. Dressing or stuffing, depending on what part of the country you're in, whatever you call it, is also a favorite of mine, but it has to have gravy, like dressing with gravy. Are you going to do your no buy for books again next year? Probably not. I didn't do it this year. I definitely scaled back from prior years. If you haven't been around, in 2021, I did a strict no buying of books. This year I've bought less, but I found that especially for fiction, being able to buy books and like keep up with series, as opposed to worrying about getting them from the library has made a big difference for me. I also have to figure out the library setup when I get to Chicago. So definitely not going to do that. I reined it back enough that I don't feel like it's an issue. Whereas in 2020, it was an issue. But there's probably other things that led to that. I feel like this tea is probably still really hot. Oh no, it's perfect. Tammy, I love this idea too. I'm also working on getting more winter decor so it can go out with Christmas, but stay out longer. Okay, Halloween is becoming a thing in Sweden, but we still don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Makes sense. So when Halloween decoration goes down, it feels empty without Christmas. Yeah, I think the after Thanksgiving thing is really a American thing for sure, in Canadian, but your Thanksgiving is earlier. I also think it depends on, do you decorate for Halloween or do you decorate for fall, right? If you're somebody that's decorating for fall, it kind of makes sense to leave it up. Whereas if you're decorating for Halloween and Christmas, November 1st makes sense to me. So I think it also just depends on your style of decor. If you're decorating more for the season versus for the holiday, like Tammy was just talking about winter. Something I've never really figured out, because to be honest, there's not a whole lot of decorating going on in our 600 square foot apartment. It's pretty much just Christmas. So that has never really been an issue, but I could see trying to figure that out in my future. Ursula, you have so much Christmas stuff. You had to get a storage unit. Going to get it this weekend. That's so exciting. My mom has all her Christmas stuff in a storage unit too. But my mom is in Australia right now, which it's like, I think it's spring there, she said. I guess that makes sense. It's fall here. It's spring there. And so she said it's been super warm and beautiful. And she's like not ready to come home to the snow. LaShawn, putting up your tree this weekend, your new grandbaby's first Christmas. I'm so excited for y'all and all the little new memories that you're going to make. That is so fun and so exciting. All right, Heather, dropping back in with more questions. Do you think there is such thing as too many planners? I have 4 and I'm not sure how I got there. That's a great question. And actually, Cindy just recently did a video on this as well about evaluating your planning system. And she had like an index card for each of her planners that are part of her system. And then on the back, she did what's working and what's not working, and then figured out how to streamline. If you haven't watched that video, I'd recommend watching that video. I'll link it after the live is over. I think, first off, the answer to your question, no, I don't think there's such thing as too many planners. But if you feel overwhelmed and you feel like it's too many, then it's probably too many for you. I think when it feels like you're spending way more time setting up your systems instead of actually executing, then it's probably too many. There's no right answer. It depends on what your goals are, what your life is like, what are you planning? I think that we all have different needs and we have to address those. But at the same time, we all, not all of us, but if you're here, you probably can relate to this, can sometimes fall into the trap of what they call procrastinating, where you spend too much time actually planning it out instead of starting to take action on it. So if you feel like that's where you're getting, then maybe try to cut back. But if you feel like all 4 of them help you in some way, you're not procrastinating by setting them up, there's a benefit to them, they're unique for you and your goals, then I don't think there is such thing as too many. Are you planning on buying anything during the Black Friday sales? Not yet. I haven't really paid attention. Also, it feels like Black Friday started 3 weeks ago. I feel like people have had their Black Friday sales going on forever. We should just call it like Black November. I don't know. It feels like feels like a lot, and I think I'm overwhelmed, and so I'm not really paying attention. I think I saw somebody, and I can't remember who now, share that like while sales are really helpful, thinking about what you want and then seeing if that company or a company that sells that product is having a sale is a better way to go about it than having a company tell you things are on sale and then you figuring out or like forcing it to work for you, because then you're not buying stuff that you don't need, right? There's nothing I need right now. Right now I need moving boxes and like that's it. Like I don't need anything, so probably not. If I do buy anything, I'll probably share on Instagram, but right now I'm leaning towards a no. Katie, loving all these decor timing ideas. It's really inspiring. I think it's also a great reminder too. What I'm seeing is everybody's different. Everybody can pick their own thing. Everybody can figure out what works best for them. And like everyone can do whatever they want. Mindy, listening to books has been huge for me. I can now read, quote unquote, and cross stitch or crochet at the same time. And it's wonderful. I actually still read in quotes too. I think audiobooks still counts as reading. That's my opinion. I don't personally listen to audiobooks, although after I think it was last week or the week before, we talked a little bit about biographies and autobiographies. Normally, I'm not a big fan. Well, the book I'm about to mention is not an autobiography. The one exception was Michelle Obama's book, which I loved, and her new book launched yesterday, and I pre-ordered it, and it's sitting at my UPS box, and I haven't gone to pick it up yet. But it's not that one. Her second book is not an autobiography because her first book was. That is the only genre I could see myself maybe dipping my toe into Audible or like audiobooks. But for me, I like reading a physical book, but I think they all count. Like, I don't think you got to put it in quotes, but I'm glad that you figured out something that works for you. Yeah, Amy, I feel like sticker shops in general, as well as regular stores, start Black Friday early and earlier every year. Yeah. This year in particular feels uh, extra early. It's a lot of like Black Friday. A lot of people saying, yeah, they're starting earlier. Jennifer, thank you for the suggestion on printing out the Moxie Life daily pages and trying layouts before I get the planner. It helped my anxiety around it. Highly recommend to anyone. Yeah, a lot of companies, the ones that pop like into my head, Moxie Life, I think Passion Planner has printables. I think Simplified even has planners on their like printables on their website for you to try out their layouts and see if it works for you before you like purchase an entire like expensive price like planner for you for the whole year or even for a quarter. So I'm glad that was helpful for you, Jennifer, and hopefully you figured out a planner that worked for you. Stephanie, newbie to your page, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here for a live. What planner subs do you belong to? Also, holiday question, are you doing any advent calendars? So I don't have any planner subscriptions. I actually don't have any subscriptions right now, like physical sending me in the mail subscriptions. That I feel like in terms of me trying to spend less and like have less stuff, that has really, really helped. In terms of advent calendars, actually, I was going to bring this up. So I have a cup of tea. I think I talked about the mugs and I didn't tell you it was actually in my cup. I have a cup of tea. Right now, the only advent calendar I have purchased is the December daily advent calendar, which I see a question about December daily next. If you don't know what it is, it's a memory keeping project where you document one thing every day in December. That's the only advent calendar I currently have purchased. I originally said I wasn't going to buy any others. And if I did, it was definitely going to be something perishable, tea, candy, something like that. I've been drinking some more tea lately. I've been cutting back on my coffee. And so I'm thinking I need to buy a tea advent calendar. Like I still have time, right? Sorry, I keep messing with my hair. I feel like it's not like laying well on my glasses. I'm thinking about it. Right now, I don't have one, but I might buy a tea one. Hope, regarding your December daily pictures, how do you print them? I go to Walgreens. I have a video talking about this. I will try and dig it up and link it after the live is over. It was either last Vlogmas or the Vlogmas before that. I just send mine to Walgreens. If I need a smaller size, I use an app called Pic Collage to do like 2 3x4s on a 4x6. I don't feel guilty at all about just sending one photo. They're done in an hour. I walk, I go pick them up. I live in New York, so it is easy for me to just walk to Walgreens and pick it up. I do Walgreens over CVS because of location, but CVS does offer a 6x8. If you want a full 6x8 picture, you can send that to CVS and get that printed. But that is for me easier and in the long run, probably less expensive than like buying a printer. Ursula, have you chosen a goal planner for 2023? I have not yet. So you didn't miss anything. Inkwell Press might have printable, but might not have printables, but they're samplers. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you, Abby. For those trying to try out planner layouts before you purchase something. Nicola, thank you for Monday's video. It was such a simple suggestion, but I never thought of it. New notebook is winging its way to me. I love that for you. If you have not caught it, the video that went up this Monday was about goal planning in a notebook. There are so many beautiful goal planners, and this upcoming weekend, there are 3 videos. There's a lot of bonus videos coming your way. I have a video coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they are going to be, maybe I just do them Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Anyways, I was just thinking about that. Like, by Sunday, I don't want to be responding to comments. So maybe I'll just do them Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Anyways, between those videos, there's like 10 goal planner options. However, if it's not in your budget, you don't want, none of those work for you, you don't want a structured goal planner, and you want to try and goal set in a notebook, or I talk about in that video, in a Google Doc, in a spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be a notebook. The video is about goal setting in your own way and not in a preset goal planner. Yay, Tammy, love the goals in a notebook video. Also, that's what I'm doing for 2023. Awesome. Yay. Hope you bought the David's Tea Advent Calendar. So I bought that one for years. But then I didn't like that it was loose leaf, but I think this year they switched to bags, because I definitely realized that doing like loose leaf tea was too much cleaning and it was a mess for me every day in December. So I needed a tea bag. So the last year or 2, I bought a tea bag one. But I think I saw somebody post that the David's Tea one is bags now. So I might have to go look. Claire, I'm starting a new job in a few weeks, which means major changes to my AM and PM routine. Would you recommend trying to change things beforehand or wait until you start the job? So I think start thinking about it beforehand. Like as you go through your morning and evening routine, think about what might have to change. I would not actually start changing it until that new job starts, because you're not going to actually know until it's time. And trying to implement it now, you have a why, but it's not there. It's not actually happening. So it's not going to feel right. That would be my recommendation. When I know that I have like an upcoming thing coming, like when dance starts or like stops, or when just like when things are going to be changing, I pretty much always like think about my routine, but I don't actually implement it until it is time to implement it. Hopefully that's helpful. Mindy, so many awesome advent calendars, so little time and budget. Yeah. And space. Like the ones that are like objects, I don't need that much stuff. Jennifer, can I ask my Instagram question that I sent, or is it on your list to talk about? It is on my list to answer those questions after this live. I was going to do it before and I didn't get around to it. I need to figure out, I love those weekly Q&As, but especially because there are some of you that overlap on Instagram, and then there's people that don't. There's people that are only on Instagram or only on YouTube. And so I do think that the weekly Q&As on Instagram are helpful, but timing them with answering the questions, and actually, you know what maybe I could do? Maybe I post the box on Sundays and then answer them on Mondays. Anyways, I am going to answer those, but I am more than happy to answer your question. We can chat about it here, Jennifer, since you are here live instead of me answering it on Instagram. So it was on how to decide how vague general and annual goals should be. And that's a really, really great topic, and definitely something that will be incorporated into the Patreon sessions about like picking and defining your annual goals. And unfortunately, you're not going to like my answer that there is no one size fits all. Obviously, there's a lot out in the world about SMART goals, and that goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. And while some of those features I think are helpful, I think some of them on the wrong goal can be too much and unmotivate you instead of motivate you. And so what I think is more important is that you are just very clear on what is important to you. And if that is vagueness, like if what is important to you is that you're leaving it open-ended, depending on what the goal is, then that's how vague it should be. But if what is important to you is being more specific and hitting something specific, then get get more specific. Like the best example I can probably give to explain that is like reading. If it's important to you to read a certain number of books, and for some people it is like to hit that 100 number or whatever it is, for some people just doing read more is a good enough goal, because as long as they're reading more than they were last year or like the current year, that is the goal for them. And they can pick action steps that are focused on just doing more. Whereas somebody who sets a specific goal to read 100 books is going to need to break that down into something a lot more specific to hit that number. Which, by the way, I did the math once, and I did the math on 50 books a year. So you can just double it for 100. It comes out to about 30 minutes of reading today. Obviously, it's very dependent on your reading speed and the length of your books. But based on average adult reading speed and average book length, it is about 30 minutes a day to finish 50 books a year. That's a lot. If you hear that and you're like, I could not possibly read 30 minutes a day, I couldn't find 30 minutes in my schedule for reading, then 50 books is not realistic. So maybe reading more is your goal instead of picking a specific number. So it really depends on why that goal is important to you, and what you want to get out of it is picking how vague or how specific it should be. I hope that answer was helpful, Jennifer. Please feel free to continue asking questions about this. We can turn it into a conversation. If you have any specific goals that you'd like some thoughts on for your specific goal, I think really just asking yourself at the end of the year, what would make you feel proud? Like if it is hitting a specific number. Another good example of this is like exercising. Like there are people who will set specific, like I want to run however many miles over the course of the whole year, because or I want to run a marathon, right? That's very specific, versus I want to exercise more. What's going to make you feel more proud at the end of the year? That's the goal. Nicola, when you move, will there be a dance group you can join? I haven't found one. In my research, I have not found one. That is the same concept as the one I was a part of here, which is an adult, like 18 and up, but doesn't dance full time, but performs. I have not found that in Chicago yet, unfortunately. So I can take classes. There's plenty of studios. I can take plenty of classes. There's even some I found where you can like do it for a set amount of time. Like you can sign up for an 8-week program, but there's not a performance at the end of it. And a lot of it still seems very beginner for adults, which I understand. Like it's mostly adults that didn't dance and want to get into dance, as opposed to people who danced growing up. So I haven't found what I want yet, but I will keep looking. Allison, this is a great question. And we definitely talked about this at some point in some video that I cannot remember. My 2023 goals are going to look very similar to my 2020 goals, which is a little discouraging. Any ideas for making them fresh? So typically, if we're carrying over goals, it is either A, that goal was always going to take longer than a year, or B, we didn't do what we wanted to do for that goal in the prior year. Let's start with A. A is that goal was always going to take longer. Like you were never going to get to whatever that end state was in 2022. And you knew that going into the year. And that's totally like that happens, right? There are goals that take multiple years. Great. If that is the case, what would make it exciting for you in 2023 is, first off, pick something that you can like a milestone that you can aim for at the end of the year. Something, and I'm not saying like specific, I'm going to get to this specific point, but like, how would you want to feel at the end of 2023? What would you want that to look like? And get like, especially if you think it's going to then carry into 2024, definitely do this exercise, but really like get clear on how you're going to level up for that in 2023. For both scenarios, whether it's a goal that you made progress on, you just didn't finish, or you didn't make as much progress as you wanted to, brainstorm new action steps. There are a lot of ways to achieve goals. How can you find new ideas on how to go about achieving those? That definitely is important. If you just didn't make progress, is maybe those action steps that you chose for 2022 didn't work. They weren't for you. What are some other action steps that you could take? And then specifically I set the goal in 22 and I didn't do it. I didn't hit it. And so I have to carry it over. First off, do you have to? Ask yourself, like, did I not do it in 2022 because it's not important to me? Like, why is that goal important to you? and making sure that you have a solid why before you carry it over. It is still important to you and you want to carry it over, asking yourself what didn't work. Like, why didn't I follow through? Like, what were the things? Was it life things that popped up, things out of my control? Was it my mindset? Why was it my own follow through? Was it my own not having momentum? Did I try to make it too big and then I got discouraged, right? Did I set a goal to read 100 books or realize that wasn't feasible halfway through and then I gave up, right? Asking yourself what that looked like and how you can make it different in 2023. Hopefully that was helpful. If you want to share any specifics that we can talk about too, happy to, similar to Jennifer, like give you some specific suggestions on your goals. Speaking of books, the Goodreads Choice nominees were announced. Great titles. I've read 27 of them. Abby, that's amazing. I did see that email come through. I haven't looked at it yet, but I did see that email. Yeah, Nicola, it does make me very, very sad when I think about it. Too hard. Okay, Jennifer, thank you. That was awesome. Can't wait to join Patreon in December and benefit from a more structured approach to goal setting. Excited to have you. River J, topic ebooks versus paper books versus audio. What do you like and when? Thinking of investing in an e-reader, yet I have so many books on the shelf to read. So I kind of, you may have just joined, but I did talk earlier how I'm not an audiobook person. The only time I could see myself ever maybe dipping my toe in that is with autobiographies that are read by the author. I might eventually think about that for the autobiographies that I've been recommended, but most of the time I'm not an audiobook person. For me, nonfiction always has to be paper. I need to be able to write and highlight and like mark it up. Like it's almost a textbook to me. Like a nonfiction, it has to be paper. For fiction, it depends. I have a Kindle, and what I love about my Kindle is being able to take it with me anywhere and not having to be like, oh, I'm going on a 2-week vacation. I need to pack 3 fiction books 3 fiction books. Why do I always struggle with the fiction, nonfiction, y'all? And I can just download as many as I want, right? And I can have as many as I want. I also, even though I think it's supposed to not be bad for you, but it still feels pretty bright, I do like having my Kindle in bed because then I don't have to turn off a light. Like I don't have a light with my paper book when I read before bed. So I do like having my Kindle for that. I also like being able to get books right away. So like when I'm reading a series, if I finish a book in a series, I can immediately just click like buy and download the next book. A little dangerous financially, but from like a momentum with my reading, very, very beneficial. Now that said, I still do have fiction books that I read and I just like alternate kind of between the two. I don't have too many fiction at this point that I haven't read on my shelf. I have in fact, I think I only have maybe one that my mother-in-law just gave me. Otherwise, it's mostly nonfiction over there that needs to be read or fiction that I've already read. So that's pretty much, for the most part, it's fiction on ebook form, nonfiction on paper, and then autobiography on audio, maybe someday. And Kindle Unlimited is also amazing. Yeah, I also use Kindle Unlimited. This is good from Jennifer. Is portability important to you? Do you like to multitask while listening to a book? Listening to a book I haven't read before is difficult for me. I find my mind wandering and not listening. It's a great point. Abby, I discovered the joy of audiobooks this year as it allows me to multitask. Also, the ability to speed them up is priceless. Yeah, it's like podcasts that I listen to at 1.5. Allison, it's sad that there's not more dance studios for adults who want to perform in a group. It's like you hit 18 and you're out of luck. I know. Isn't that like, I don't know. It's very frustrating. Yeah, and it's like that for a lot of sports too, like Mindy said, trying to get back into competitive swimming, but everything is kid oriented. Oh, this is funny. I'm the exact opposite. I prefer reading nonfiction in my Kindle so I can highlight, take notes that I can refer to easily and search in the future. And for fiction, I love a good physical book. Don't get me wrong. I do love a good physical book for fiction too. I just know that I read them quickly and just it's easier for me to do it on my Kindle, but I get that. That makes sense. Maybe I would get more out of my nonfiction notes if I highlighted on digital on a Kindle as opposed to in my physical nonfiction. I don't know. I love my physical nonfiction books though. My tea's getting cold. Some other recommendations. Check with your local library. Mine allows me to check out audiobooks. I think the New York Public Library also allows you to check out audiobooks. I haven't really looked into that too much. That's a good idea. And then I could see if I like audiobooks at all. Jennifer, what's everyone's win for the week? I love this. I love when you ask this question. For me, it was almost the opposite, right? So spoiler alert, if you've never been a part of a live, at the end, I'm going to ask you about your action step for the week. And last week I shared that my action step was attending the December daily prep day. And that is my win. My December daily stuff is all organized. I'm actually staring at it. I'm a little bit like, am I going to stare at it for the next 14 days before I actually get to dig into it? And the answer is yes. But I'm also not working next week, so it's okay. But that's definitely my win for the week is the December daily product organization. I also organize all my honeymoon scrapbooking stuff too. So I'm going to try and tackle them at the same time. Mindy, resubscribe to Beachbody so I can work out at home again. Now to move some crap so you have the room. Love that. It's okay. It's a good reminder that from Mindy's comment, like sometimes you go back to something that did work, right? It may have worked for you for a while and then it didn't work and then you go back to it and that's okay. It's not like you failed the first time. It just didn't work for you at that point and you can always come back to things. Anna, my win was that I weighed in. I've lost 4 pounds in 2 weeks. Congrats. Win of the week, I met my book goal. Yes, Monica met her 2023 book goal. Love that. Thinking about doing a pages and a book goal next year. Not all books are created equal. That is true. Aki finished your Bible study. So much progress, y'all. I love it. Maybe that's what we should kick it off with instead of what was your win or what are you drinking? Start with what was your win from last week. That's how I kick off one-on-one coaching calls. They always, except the first one, because I don't want to put them too much on the spot. But starting with week 2, it is always what was your win from last week. Oh, Nicola, my win was getting through a massive work to-do list so you can enjoy 2 days off without worrying. I love that for you. Jennifer, my win is that I increased my workouts to 3 times in a week. Congrats. I know you've been working on that for a while. I love it. Awesome. Well, that 30 minutes just absolutely flew by. What other questions do you have? What else is on your mind that you're struggling with? The lighting is fantastic today. It looks so sunny. I think it's cold outside, but it looks sunny. It looks beautiful. Although yesterday, I was so annoyed. Everybody upstate was getting this beautiful snow, and we were getting cold rain. It was like 38 and rainy, which is, in my opinion, the worst. I would rather be 30 and snowing. Like 38 and rainy is literally the worst weather. Amanda, I moved my water goal and still hit it this week. I love that. Taylor Swift tickets for my 15-year-old daughter was a win. That is, I think, when I saw my first Taylor Swift concert. I was 15. It was a benefit concert that she did because it was like for our high school baseball team, somebody knew her. And I mean, she had one album at the time. This was 16 years ago. And she had one album and she did like a benefit concert. That was the first concert I ever saw of hers. And I think I was 15, maybe 16. I'm trying to remember. Like the real question is, did I remember who, like the friend I went with? And the real question is, did we drive ourselves or did somebody drive us? Because if somebody drove us, we were 15, right? But if we drove ourselves, then I was probably 16. But I was definitely young. Same here, cold and rainy in Philly. My mom in Finger Lakes got snow. Yeah. Jennifer, you could have my snow. 30 miles per hour winds and feels like 5 degrees. Okay, I don't want that. I don't want that. I just want what the upstate got, which is beautiful. Like 30 degrees and snowing. Oh my gosh, feels like 5. Whew, it's too early for that. It's November. No single digits yet. Where do you live, Jennifer, that you already feel like 5? I wish we had snow or at least some cooler weather. It's 80 today. Yeah. No cooler weather for you. Nicola, what New York Christmassy things are you going to do this year? Somebody asked me this last week and nothing really. I don't have any special things planned. Just soak it in. We still haven't gotten autumn temperatures here. Warmest November in forever. Feels crazy not to have to wear a coat yet. So we like kind of skipped that in between, it feels like. We went straight from like, I only need my leather jacket to like, actually right now I probably could get away with a fall coat. But I feel that. Nebraska. Okay. It's cold there though. That's fair. That's fair. One of my good friends is from Nebraska. The bridesmaids at my wedding. Everyone's talking about the weather now. Anything else? Oh, Heather, my mom and sister are going to New York in December. Any suggestions? So I have a video on my New York recommendations. It's pretty old, but I'm pretty sure I still stand by everything in that video. So I'll link that for you. I really struggle with when people are like, what are your and this is not against you because I know that you recently have joined our like little family here. And so just for future reference, it is always so much. And when you're asking anybody who lives, especially a city like New York, like it is, and there's so much to do here, is asking for specific like recommendations because there's so much to do, right? And so what do you like? Do you really want an Italian place? Do you really want a shows to go see? Do you want the best museums? Do you want shopping? Like what are the things that you like to do in that city? Because it's so much easier for me to give you specific suggestions or recommendations for like specific things versus just like general suggestions. Now, I made a video on it because I got it a lot. But just in the future, like that is always the best way to go about getting suggestions from people in different cities is by being specific about what it is that you're looking for. Maggie, Illinois has snow, but it's not sticking. Okay, I saw people post about the snow. My employee in Chicago mentioned the Fly Honey show as a dance group suggestion. Is that Winky Face a good Winky Face, or am I not going to like that website? Monica, I'm nervous. Amy, I'm so excited for Vlogmas. I think I'm going to go back and rewatch past Vlogmas videos. I love that so much. I am also excited, but also a little bit nervous. LaShawn, did you already say how many more days before you move? Well, I updated this, I think yesterday. 102. Now, this is not set in stone. We haven't like booked a mover yet, truthfully, but that's the day I think we're going to move. Unless we like can't find a mover that day, which is crazy. When I visit a new place, I like to try their pizza and carrot cake and compare the differences. I love that. So I think that I heard about this idea. I think it was from the Lazy Genius about always having the things that you want to do in a new city and do them. Like, so for me, I always try to find a bookstore and I always try to find a coffee shop, like a local coffee shop. I think that that's fun. Heather, any New York Christmas recommendations? So Nicola recommended the Rockettes. If you like dancing and shows, I also recommend the Rockettes. I think the Rockettes are great. You have to go see the Christmas tree, the Rockefeller tree. Really, there's so many trees to go see in the city, but the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree for sure. I had something else and it just escaped my brain. Oh, the windows, the Fifth Avenue windows. Abby, are you going to change your name before the move? Absolutely not. That's exactly why it got postponed, because I was not about to go deal with the New York City DMV to then not need that license in like 4 months. So no, I postponed the name change until after the move. I always look for local yarn and cross stitch shop. Mindy, that's my friend Brooke, who is from Chicago, was just here visiting New York. They were here because her husband had to work, and she cross stitches, and she went and found a local shop here that she was really excited to go visit. Maggie, just a comment. I started asking work colleagues how they pronounce their names, something you do on the lives. I tried it, especially if you have a name that I've never pronounced before and I want to make sure I don't mess it up. That is something that I think is super important. I think it also stems from the fact that I've had my name mispronounced a million and one times. Like I was just telling a story the other day about the first time when I was an intern at New York Life, an actuarial intern 10 years ago. We all got to have breakfast with the CFO because he was an actuary before he became CFO. And he had clearly looked at our resumes and like memorized our resumes. And so I introduced myself but he had us like go around the table and introduce ourselves. And then he continuously referred to me as Laken. And I corrected him like the first time and maybe the second time. And then after that, I was just like, forget it. Like if he's just I'm just going to deal. But like as someone who has dealt with, Allison, Laken, I get a lot. In person, people hear Lincoln. Like if I'm in a bar and I introduce myself and it's loud, people hear Lincoln before they hear Laken. So that's when I say Laken like bacon. Reading it, I get Laken a lot. I also get misgendered a lot when people have never heard of my name before. The number of emails I got that were Mr. Edwards. Jamie, it wouldn't be totally dance focused, but would you be interested in community theater? It might give you a similar arts community performing experience. 100,000,000%. And Sam and I have talked about this too for him as well, as something we're going to look into when we get there. I am not a great singer. Like that is not a strength. I was decent enough to like make ensembles in high school theater. I'm not a soloist. I'm not that great of a singer. So that would be my only concern is actually like making shows. Obviously I have the dance skills. And so if it was a real dance heavy show, 40-second, like especially if it was tap heavy, I feel like I could overcome my lack of singing abilities with my dance abilities. But if it's not a dance heavy show, probably would not fit well with my skills. But that is definitely a great reminder of a way it is not the same as dance works, but would have the same concept of rehearsals. And typically rehearsals are in the evenings and weekends because people have full-time jobs. So that's definitely something that I need to remember to look into. Sam is on his list to look into when we move. But especially if it's a dance heavy show, it might be a good fit for me. Yeah, people call me Lincoln all the time, especially in person if I say it. That's what they hear. I don't understand that. Oh my God. My friend's name is Emmett. Someone kept calling him Lemon. Oh my God. That is frustrating. Amanda, how would you go about adding a new recurring task like posting to social media or something that's not part of routine? I mean, I know how to slot in one-time things goals, but not something like this. So I would start with it like as a one-time thing and do it like once a week. You got to start smaller. So whatever your ultimate goal is, also, I think I said this to you once before about a different goal. You don't need to always know what your ultimate goal is, right? Like even if you think it might be to post on Instagram every day of a week, you might eventually decide it's actually only 5. I don't actually care what the ultimate goal is, but you start smaller. So start with 1 a week. And that's the goal is 1 a week. Pick whatever day that is that you're going to post and post 1 a week and do that. Then up it to 2 and then up it to 3, just like you would with like a workout goal or something else that you're working up to doing daily. And then ultimately figuring out, it goes from like, oh, it's this one thing that I do on Mondays to now I've got to figure out how to get it into my daily routine if you're trying to work up to daily. Even if it's not at part of a routine, if that makes sense. Like you just figure out when you're going to fit it into your day. Allison, will your square footage increase in Chicago? How's the rental market there? I wouldn't know what to do with more than 500 square feet at this point. That's such a New Yorker statement to make. Yes, our square footage will absolutely increase in Chicago. The rental market right now is not as ideal as we would like it to be. It's starting to creep its way down a little bit, hoping in the next couple months it creeps its way more down. But either way, we'll get more space because they just are not as ridiculous as New York is in terms of like chopping up apartments and making them, the way I explained it to my mother-in-law when she was here is like, we live in a walk-up building, right? And each floor of our building is 3 units. It's 2 1-bedrooms and then a 3-bedroom. That's like our every floor of our apartment. And in Chicago, they wouldn't have chopped that up. It'd be 1 unit on the floor. So we're definitely going to get more space. The bedrooms are going to be much more realistic. It's really we're not actually aiming to get that much more, rooms. Like we're aiming for a 4-bedroom instead of a 3-bedroom. So it's not like we're aiming to get that many more rooms, but like the bedrooms will be bigger. There'll be a dining room. There'll probably be not only a eat-in kitchen and a dining room. Like every apartment I've ever seen my siblings live in, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like it's compared to New York. So yeah, it definitely will. I'm not sure what we're gonna do with, I mean, things like the living room, like our couch, right, is like 8 feet from our TV. Like that's not gonna be the case in Chicago. Our Peloton may not have to be in the living room. We may get to like turn a space into like an actual little gym area and whatnot. So it'll feel different. How civilized. I know. I know. Oh my gosh, Jennifer, you have the opposite problem of a too common name. When I was born at the hospital, there was another Jennifer Johnson born on the same day. That's bananas. Lisa, how are you planning to include last New York Christmas things into your December daily? Any specific things or events? No. Like I said, I think I said this last week and then a little bit earlier. There's not really any New York, like New York Christmas, there's not specific events for me. There's not like anything specific. Um I um I'm trying to think. There's nothing specific that I'm like trying to do for December daily, truthfully. Sorry, that's not a great answer. Ooh, a recommendation from Heather. Pre-plan and schedule my Instagram on Canva. It uploads posts so it becomes less of a concern. Apparently, Canva, you can upload straight to Instagram. That is cool. I do not do that. Carrie, as someone who is hard of hearing, I sometimes need to see a name written down and pronounced to understand the correct way to say it. I even hear common names incorrectly. Thanks for being patient. I appreciate you sharing that with us, Carrie. I do I do appreciate that there is likely sometimes that when people struggle with my name, it's probably not just because it's a unique name and or we're in a loud space. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. And that's a good reminder too about seeing it written down. And maybe it's like pulling out an ID and being like, no, this is because I think once you, well, except for the people that see Laken, which I don't understand. Once you see my name, it makes sense. At least I think it does. Ariel, in New York, it'll be a broom closet, and they're like, "No, that's a one bedroom, no kitchen or bathroom in sight." I don't know if I ever told y'all the story. Oh my gosh, I wish I hadn't deleted this video from my phone because it was hilarious. My mom and I saw an apartment. My mom went apartment hunting with me the very first time I moved to Chicago. I mean, to Chicago, to New York, and we saw this apartment that you walk in and you were in the kitchen. The kitchen looked pretty normal. It's like a pretty normal sized kitchen. And you went to the left and there was the bedroom. You were in the bedroom. And then through the bedroom was the bathroom, or at least what I thought was the bathroom. But when you went into that room, it was just the toilet. There was no shower and there was no sink in that room. It was literally just the toilet. Okay. So you'd have to like exit that room and come all the way through the bedroom into the kitchen to wash your hands. Because by the way, there was no other sink in sight. Then from the kitchen, when you went to the right, there was the living room. And it was like on a high floor. So it had a lot of beautiful natural light. It had exposed brick. It was very beautiful. In the corner of the living room was the shower, like a stand up steam shower. I was like, we called it living room shower. And it was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my whole life was living room shower. So yeah. In other cities, they don't do that to you. It's just, yeah. It is going to be, even when I look online, I'm still like, wow, that's what I get. Yeah. New York is wild. It is some of the place. The best part about this too is that there was somebody else who had seen the unit with like their realtor that was like exiting the building at the same time we were going in. And they didn't like say anything. They didn't give us like a heads up that it was ridiculous. They just were like, okay, enjoy. I was like, I feel like if I came out and was passing somebody, I would have been like, no, don't walk up the 4 flights of stairs. It's not worth your time. I mean, maybe it's worth your time to laugh and like see how funny it is, but it's not worth, you're not going to rent that apartment. Gosh, it was just so funny. Oh my gosh. All right. Any other questions? Anything else that you are struggling with that you need another brain on? Was it a glass shower in the living room? Yeah. Just like standing there. Just no door, no curtain, just like a glass shower in the corner of the living room. So a 3-piece bathroom actually didn't really exist because there was only this kitchen sink, but was like in 3 different places. It was bananas. It was the most ridiculous apartment I've ever seen. Living room shower. We still talk about it today. Like my family still talks about living room shower because it was just that ridiculous. And I wish I still had that video. Mhm. This is random, but I recently dyed my hair red. How do you keep yours red? Mine fades so fast. Mine fades fast too. This is very fresh, like 2 days ago fresh. I do it once a month. Yeah. Probably a 2K a month apartment too. I will tell you, given that my first budget, my first like New York City apartment ended up being 1,900. My guess is it was probably around that because I was probably seeing apartments that were like between 15 and 2. So, yep. Yeah. New York City rent is just ridiculous. Heather, one other thing. So I dye it once a month. That's how I help keep it fresh. I try not to wash it like a ton. Like I use a lot of dry shampoo. I live in New York City, but in the Bronx, I actually have a bathroom, bedroom, living room, and closets. I mean, I do have all of that now. We have 3 bedrooms with 3 closets. We have a decent sized living room. I think so. I mean, it's got a Peloton in there and a couch and a TV. Couch that turns into a queen size bed. We just pay for it now. You know, we've upgraded. I do think though that's the biggest difference between Manhattan and the rest of the outer boroughs is the space that you get in those outer boroughs, like Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. You just get a lot more space in those kind of general living spaces. Like rooms are just bigger in those boroughs than in Manhattan. Yeah. Ooh, and cool water for red hair. I do rinse with cool water after I dye it. I'm not good about doing it on the regular though. Such a Midwestern question. Are you going to get a car once you move? Not right away, because we're planning to move to the city when we live there. So hopefully still living the same city life. We don't need a car. And my mom has a car, and 2 of my adult siblings that live there have cars. So like if we did need a car, like when we were there a couple years ago, we needed a car to go visit friends in Michigan. Like we just borrowed a car for the weekend and like took it. So not right away. We're not going to buy a car, but maybe someday if we leave the city. Also will depend a little bit on how close we end up to my mom, how close our apartment is to my mom's apartment. I'd like to be as close as possible, but I don't know if we can afford that. Depends on what the rental markets decide to do. Come on, Chicago. Now that it's cold, like, come on, people don't want to move there. Drop the prices. All right. We are almost out of time. So I am going to ask you my last question, which is, what is one thing that you're going to do this week to make progress on your goals? What is the one small step that you're going to take to make progress on your goals in the next week? Also, I totally forgot until I meant to say this at the beginning. I'm sorry, y'all. There is no live next week. It's the day before Thanksgiving. My family's in town. There's no live. There will be a video up instead. We will not be hanging out. Sorry for not telling you at the beginning. I meant to, and then I forgot. Okay, back to the question. What is one thing you're going to do this week to make progress on your goals? If you are here live, let us know in the chat and I will read and share what everyone is working on. And then if you are watching the replay, I would love for you to share in the comments what you are doing this upcoming week to make progress on your goals. Yes, Lisa, enjoy your PTO. Do not log into your work email. Yes. Kim, Pack, we leave for Disney next week. So excited for you. Declutter your atrocious living room. I'm sure it is not as bad as you're making it sound, Mindy, but that sounds like a great step. Make a meal plan to get you through your job transition. Claire, that sounds like a great step. Schedule an important Zoom call, second week of working out 3 times per week, at least 3 hours of observations for your teacher training course. Declutter some more in your bedroom, finalize holiday gift list and budget. Abby, thankful for Laken and this community. Happy Thanksgiving. I am also so thankful for all of you. Ooh, Crystal, this is a good one. Unsubscribe to all the emails so I don't fall prey to the Black Friday sales. Bubble bath every night to force in self-care and reading. I'm one book away from hitting your yearly goal. You've got this. Heather, work on your voiceovers. Yep. Start with that first small one. Get that win. What do you do with red congruent eyebrows? I prefer the matching look you had. You know what? It's funny you say that because I don't do anything to them. I actually use a pretty brown eyebrow pencil. I've had so many people, like hairdressers too, be like, you should dye your eyebrows red. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. Thanks though. And I actually just use like a brown. I think it's just the lighting maybe makes them look more red, but they are not. They are brown. And I'm okay with it. I don't need my eyebrows to be red. All right, y'all. Those are all awesome steps. I appreciate all of you for hanging out with me today. And I hope that you have a wonderful holiday for those of you who are celebrating next week. And there will be videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week, even though there's no live. And then there will be one more live the next week as we before we kick off Vlogmas. More to come on that when we chat November 30th. All right. Have a great day, everybody. And I will see you all very soon.